Monday Night Raw was on last night, so you know what that means. We are here to review everything that happened last night on Monday Night Raw. If you are new here, make sure to go down below, drop a like and subscribe. And while you're down there, subscribe, make sure to press the bell so you get notified every time we upload, which is daily, so I would hate for you to miss out on the daily wrestling videos. So Raw opened with Gunther in the ring, and he would very quickly be interrupted by the Judgment Day, and Finn Balor would come out swinging, at least vocally swinging. He'd come out and say, look, you've retained your title at Survivor Series because of me, and you're going to lose your title at Saturday Night's Main Event because of me. Now, Gunther would kind of disagree with this, obviously, but then he would also say he didn't appreciate Finn's, help. And Gunther would say, I actually respected you 8 years ago. 8 years ago, you were the best in the world for one day. Right now, I'm the best in the world. But he said he stopped respecting Finn because of Finn's heel antics. They're getting involved with the Judgment Day, doing dodgy dealings, which, to be fair, while Gunther he's kind of a heel, kind of not at the minute, as we'll see as this segment goes on. Gunther doesn't necessarily take advantage of heel antics. His entire thing is he's just a really good wrestler. And that's why he's kind of been built and pushed to the absolute moon. Now, Judgment Day would make the attempt to jump Gunther. But who would come out and make the save? Damian Priest. Now, there would be a continuous beatdown on the Judgment Day from Priest and Gunther. But, oh my god, Gunther attacks Priest. Now, this would lead to an absolutely huge brawl between the lot of them, Judgment Day, Priest, Gunther. But it would end with Finn Balor standing tall, with Gunther outside on the floor, and Finn Balor delivering 3 coups de grace to Damian Priest. Now, Finn would end up holding up both his tag title and the world title, and it was an interesting visual, and I think that's kind of solidified now that he won't be winning at Saturday Night's Main Event. I know some people are anticipating it. I just think that he's going to end up losing, unfortunately. Now, following on from this, we would see a Judgment Day backstage segment. Now, this would very quickly be interrupted by Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce would come out and announce that Damian Priest will be added to the World Heavyweight title match at Saturday Night's Main Event, and it will now be a triple threat. Now, is Priest in there to take the pinfall? Maybe, but I still think that Finn's going to be the one that eats the pin. I just, for whatever reason, I think they want to keep Damian Priest strong. I think they're going to keep the title on Gunther. As much as I want a Finn Balor push, I don't think it's going to happen. And Adam Pearce would also announce that next week on Raw, Finn Balor and JD McDonough will be defending the tag team titles against the War Raiders with the Judgment Day banned from ringside. Now, after all this information, we would actually see more tension between the Judgment Day as Liv would mock Finn, saying, have you got any advice for me and Raquel ahead of our matches? If we listen to Finn, we win. So, again, we've spoke about the cracks forming. We've spoke about Finn's ego. And it's just another reason why I don't think Finn's going to win at Saturday Night's Main Event. Because it seems like Finn is continuously being punished for having an ego in story. So, I don't think they're going to give him a title now. I think this is going to be where we start to see the cracks really form when Finn loses his head. Because he's not as good as he thinks he is. And now we get on to the Wyatt Sicks versus the Final Testament. Now, the Wyatt Sicks would come out early and get the jump on the Final Testament before heading into the break. And this would actually turn out to be quite a back and forth competitive match between the two. But ultimately, Paul Ellering would return and he would throw some sort of powder in the face of Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, whatever you want to call him. And Karrion Kross would hit his weird finisher thing and the Final Testament would win. Now, for me, I couldn't think of a more stupid decision. I really want to know where WWE are going with the Wyatt Sicks, because I really like the Wyatt Sicks. I was a huge Bray Wyatt fan when he was still alive, and now I'm going to be a big Wyatt Sicks fan because it's a way to honour his legacy, and yet they're losing, not clean, but not far from clean, to the Final Testament. And it's one thing to have someone like an Eric Rowan, a Joe Gacy, or a Dexter Lumis eat the pin, but Bo Dallas, the guy who we're meant to be making look strong, the guy who's meant to be honouring his brother, is being pinned in the middle of the ring. Again, I know it's not clean, But even still, I said in my video yesterday about how I don't know where they're going with this feud, and I'm getting really bored of it really quick. And all my attention is just gone. I have no time for this feud anymore. I'm bored of this. I want the Wyatt Sicks to move on to something else. They had a nothing feud with Gable that kind of led nowhere, and now they're being bullied by the Final Testament week in, week out. What are the plans for the Wyatt Sicks? Because at the minute, it just seems like there isn't any. Now, following on from the Final Testament and the Wyatt Sicks, we would see CM Punk's sit-down interview with Jackie Redmond. Now, initially, Jackie would ask him about, what is this favour? You know, what are you going to ask of Paul Heyman? And CM Punk says, you know what, I don't want to discuss that. Look, it's a personal thing between me and Paul. I ain't going to sit here and talk about it. You'll know when you know, basically. He would then go on to talk about Seth Rollins, and he would actually reveal that Seth Rollins came to him when Seth was 16 and asked Punk to train Seth for free. And Punk was like, no. And he said, he talked about the entitlement of Seth Rollins and says, like, look, that entitlement at 16 to think that I'll just trade him for free has continued to now, and he's still entitled. You know, Punk says that, look, everything Seth Rollins has done, I've done better and done it first. And he also says that, you know, Seth was a great place filler while Punk was gone. But now that Punk's back, the starter's back, and Seth needs to find his place on the bench. I like this interview because it kind of made it seem like Punk's not interested in this feud. But in reality, we know he really is. And this is what is exciting about this feud, man, is it's been brewing for so long. It's going to be great. It just is. The match, if we get it at WrestleMania, it's going to be different levels. Now, after this, we would see Liv Morgan versus Dakota Kai. Now, this match, honestly, I think was one of the more entertaining matches of the night. Dakota Kai looked incredible in this match. Liv Morgan she looked like Liv Morgan. It's just standard for her at this point to put on great matches. Now, at many points, it would look like Dakota Kai was going to pick up the win. However, the Pure Fusion Collective, whatever they're called, I don't know why they exist. This little female faction I'm not a fan of. They came out, and after like continuous distractions on Dakota Kai, Liv would pick up the win. And I don't get the Pure Fusion Collective. I mean, they attacked Dakota Kai after the match, and then ultimately Io Sky would come out and try and make the save where Liv would attack Io Sky. This whole thing, like I said, the match between Dakota Kai and Liv Morgan was really good, but this PFC, whatever you want to call them, I don't like them, I don't get it. But we did get some furtherment in the Io Sky versus Liv feud, which was really needed considering they are literally facing off at Saturday night's main event this coming Saturday. We would then have a backstage promo segment, little video package from Drew McIntyre, whatever you want to call it. Now, Drew would say that he knew he needed to come back when he seen Jay and Sami stand next to Roman Reigns. He said he could understand CM Punk doing it because he took a bribe to be there. But Jay and Sami, after everything Roman put them through, for them to go back, he knew he had to come back and he knew he had to essentially put them in their place. Now, surprisingly to me, Drew McIntyre admitted to attacking Jey Uso. I didn't think they'd go this route. I thought that they would have not said who attacked Jey Uso for a reason. So I'm surprised that they've gone with Drew for this. Again, I know it was the obvious choice. I just thought, you know, with the amount of swerves we've seen in WWE recently, I thought that was going to be another one. It was probably going to advance the OG Bloodline, New Bloodline feud in some way, shape or form. We would then see the Seth Rollins in ring promo. Now, Seth would address the CM Punk interview with Jackie Redmond. He would say, you know, CM Punk's got a funny way of spinning the truth, and he would call Punk a fraud and a con man. And it was... I wasn't a fan of this part of the promo because he would then go on to say, you know, I appreciate Punk, he helped me get into this business, but I don't like him because while he was away from WWE, he ghosted me. I messaged him and he ignored me. And it's like, you really hate someone because they didn't answer your messages. Like, that's... We know it's deeper rooted than that, so I don't like the fact that they've gone this way with it, but who am I to judge? Now, he would also say that everything that CM Punk did, he's done twice, and he's also done something that Punk will never do, and that is main event WrestleMania. Now, I really liked this, because it's like Punk said earlier, look, everything you've done, I did better, and I did it first. Now, Seth's saying, everything you did, I've did it twice, and I've did what you've never done. So this was a nice little parallel being drawn of, like, you think you're the best, I'm the best. Sami Zayn would then come out and interrupt this promo, and he would actually apologise for accusing Seth of attacking Jey Uso. But Sammy would also say that, last week you weren't sounding like Seth Rollins. You were sounding an awful lot like Drew McIntyre. So that's a little interesting thing. Maybe seeds being planted for like what we've imagined. Seth and Drew and possibly Kevin Owens all being teamed up. Maybe. But Sammy would then agree to stay out of Seth's business from now on. And Seth would leave the ring after that, after they consolidated and, agreed to be friends again. And this is where Sammy would have his own little promo where he would call out Drew for a match at Saturday night's main event. He said he wants to get this done over and quickly. So Saturday night's main event, we will see Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre. Honestly, I'm quite excited for this match. It's just adding another great match with two main event caliber superstars to an already stacked card. We would then have the Women's Intercontinental Championship Tournament bracket match between Lyra Valkyria, Ivy Nile and Zelina Vega. Now this match, again, was really good. There was a lot of high spots, there was a lot of near falls, a lot of chances where any of the three women could have picked up the win at any point. I really enjoyed this match. Ultimately, Lyra Valkyria would pick up the win, which is a huge surprise to me, and I think a lot of people who were expecting Zelina Vega to advance, but I'm really happy that Lyra got the win, and she's going to be the person now that I think is going to go the entire way and win the tournament, and I really hope she does, because that'd be a great start on the main roster for her. After this, we would then have the New Day segment. Now, backstage, the New Day, more specifically Xavier Woods, would steal Stu's camera and they would walk out to the ring filming themselves. But when they would come out, they'd walk out to the ring and it was just boos. We are talking like Dominic Mysterio levels of heat, countless New Day sucks chants, countless We Want Big E chants. And like I said, like this heat is like heel heat I never could have imagined the New Day ever getting. Even when the New Day like debuted back in the day and they were getting booed, it was not like this. It wasn't this sort of like we hate you heat. It was interesting. Now the New Day didn't end up actually saying anything because they couldn't get their words out. It was Dominic Mysterio levels of booing, so they ultimately ended up leaving the ring, and that was that as far as the New Day promo whatever was concerned. And finally, we get on to our main event of the evening. Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez in a no DQ match. Now, Rhea would make her entrance, and then following, we would have Raquel's entrance, but Rhea would get the jump on Raquel, and they would start brawling out into the stands, into the fans, before making their way back to the ring. Now, this match would be a very back and forth match. Both women would get their spots in, but of course, as everyone would expect in a no DQ match, Liv was going to be a persistent thorn in the side of Rhea. She even hit an Oblivion on Rhea. Io Sky would come out to make the save for the second time tonight, and she would come out and try and take out Liv Morgan. Now, ultimately, Rhea would win by pinfall after delivering a riptide to Raquel through the table. And Raw would end with Rhea and Io facing off, both holding the world title. Now, is this foreshadowing? Potentially, but I don't think that we're going to see Io pick up the win at Saturday night's main event. I don't think we're going to have Rhea versus Io. I think they want to wrap up this Rhea versus Liv feud, but potentially down the line, if Rhea goes over in this feud with Liv, like we expect, maybe down the line, we get Rhea versus Io, and this will be a little callback moment for them. But that was where Raw would end for tonight. Now, if I'm honest, this episode of Raw definitely had its highs and definitely had its lows. I mean, we compare it to last week. Last week we got an all-time episode, and this week I'm left feeling kind of like excited for certain feuds and then confused about certain feuds. So, in my rating, I have to be honest, and I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10, which feels really harsh, but if I gave SmackDown last Friday a 6 out of 10, this episode was not better than the last episode of SmackDown. And like I said, there was just too many confusing things. I don't know where we're going with the Wyatt Sicks and the Final Testament. Rhea and Liv is dragging on a bit, let's be honest. There was highs. The New Day segment was a high. The Gunther segment was in the middle, kind of a high. And then, there was other highs. I just can't give it more than like a 50%. It's a 5 out of 10. It was a solid episode, but that's where I stand on the matter. As always, though, let me know what you thought of this week's episode of Monday Night Raw down below in the comments. I always read them. But if you have enjoyed this video, like I said earlier in the video, make sure to go down below, drop a like, and subscribe as well. I appreciate all of you for watching these videos, so thank you to every single one of you. And I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.